Is your deadlift strong enough for the level that you want to compete in Strongman? After this weekend's 505 kilo deadlift from Hafthor Bjornsson, it can be very easy for people to lose sight about what they need to be able to lift to be competitive at Strongman. Now, of course, the boundaries are being pushed all the time. This is an unbelievable number that Hafthor just hit, but he is 1 in 8 billion. He is the greatest of all time. This video today is going to break down through the levels and weight classes in Strongman what you need to be able to do in order to be competitive, right? Whether you are a novice or an open or somebody that wants to go to nationals or worlds or set a world record, we're going to break down the numbers that you need to be thinking about to be successful with. So let's not get caught up in world records, even though they're awesome and we want to appreciate them and get hyped up over them. Think about what you need for your journey. So this is all based on a mix of personal experience of what I use when I promote shows, of the numbers that I have had to lift at the 80 kilo America's Strongest Man, official Strongman games, and other shows I've been a part of, and then just checking out various competitions in the world to see what the different levels have to do. So this is not a set in stone list, but it's sort of to give you an idea of what you need to succeed at these levels. So let's kind of break down starting with the novice class. Now we are gonna just write it in the kilo weight classes, but I'm gonna break down everything in pounds, okay? So starting with the 80 kilo weight class, or 176.4 pound weight class. Then we have the 90 kilo or 198 pounds, 105 kilo, 231 pounds. And the open division, anything above that. Let's look at novice. Now, as a novice, what I'm thinking of this category as is, some level of strength training. Novice to me is not somebody that is just completely brand new to lifting weights, but these are numbers, in my opinion, if you've been lifting for about 1.5 to 2 years, you should have comfort being able to pull this number a handful of times. Now, there's always outliers and people have different strengths and weaknesses. So there's gonna be a variety, but if you cannot pull this weight, then you have got to just work on that deadlift a little bit more. I think this number is 4 plates, 405 for the 80 kilo division. Now that is just a little over 2 times body weight. It's like 2 1/3 here. Same with 455 for this 198 pound, 90 kilo weight class, 4 1/4. For the 105s, 5 plates. And then for the opens, the thing with the open is this is such a broad category where you could have somebody that's 232 pounds or 450 pounds. It tends to be a little heavier. So you need to be able to be hitting 545 before going up to that next level. Now for the open, this is a local open division show, not quite like a nationals or anything yet. We're thinking 495, 5 plates. Again, these are things you should be comfortable with, not just hitting for one, but be able to hit multiple times. And when you're peaked, maybe 5, 6, 7 or more, right? For the 90 kilo class, 545. For the 105s, 6 plates, 585. And for the open, 635, 6 plates and 1/4. Now these would be the numbers that you could expect to see at competitions. These aren't just being pulled out of nowhere, but this has been researched through Iron Podium and the Strongman Corporation website. These are very typical numbers that you would have to hit for reps at the open division, okay? But now if we're going up to nationals, of course, we're going a little more competitive as we get further down the list. You would probably need to be able to hit 585 for reps comfortably, even if it's just a couple, as an 80 kilo. When I did US Nationals 2024, we had 565 for reps. I was able to do 11 on that one, and I won that event pretty comfortably. I had time to go. I could have hit a few more, but I did just fine with that. There's a couple that had 8 in there. I think mostly everybody got reps, but I was able to do 11 at 565. Okay, but I have 585 little higher. Sometimes Strongman Corp or other federations will have heavier weights, but you got to be hitting 6 plates to be good at nationals, okay? Now, 600 for the 90 kilo class, same thing. At nationals 2024, I believe the winner of that division had 13 reps here at 600. So when we're talking about these numbers, this is not just hitting for one. This is what you have to be, comfortable with in order to succeed. But you could have different strengths and weaknesses in strongman. Of course, if you're a really great presser, just remember, if you're just scoring a couple points on deadlift, but you can really get a lot on all the other ones, you're still going to be successful. So don't sweat as I'm talking about 11 reps, 13 reps, this and that. That doesn't have to be you, just setting expectations, right? Now for the 105s, still moving up, national weights, you would see somewhere around like a 635, 650 weight for the national level 105 or 231 weight class. And then for the opens, these tend to jump up a whole lot because it's just so competitive. Whether you like it or not, the money in strongman is in the heavyweight division. So there's a really big jump from level to level with the opens because it just gets more competitive, more prestigious, and more top level as you go along, right? Competing for pro circuits, Giants Live, the guys that want to make it to World's Strongest Man. Like there's really a lot going into this, okay? And that at nationals, you would expect to be 725, okay? But then we'll get to the pro level. And by pro, I mean the highest level that one could achieve in strongman. So there is growing pro scenes in United States Strongman. There are pro cards in Strongman Corp. But for a lot of these weight classes, you could consider pro as world championships. So this would be something like official Strongman games or the Arnold Pro-Am that they're starting to run with Strongman Corp in Columbus, Ohio. Now for this, these are numbers based off official Strongman Games results and America's Strongest Man, which are both, even though America's Strongest Man national, that's a pretty elite pro level show. You need to be able to be hitting at least 635 as an 80 kilo athlete. To give you some further numbers on this, just 2 weeks ago, I competed at America's Strongest Man with a max deadlift. There was, I believe, one guy got 585, or maybe two, but out of the 11 athletes in it, everybody got 635 or higher, right? So most people finished around 635. There was, I believe, Mason hit 685. Harold Carter hit 685 for one. I hit 725. And then the winner was Ricky Panjanaban with 735. So this is not, the limit. If you can do more, that's always better. But those are real numbers here. If you can't hit 635, you're not going to be super competitive at the pro level. Now, for official strongman games, we had an axle deadlift at 640 last year. There was a Trump weight and a Mercy weight, which just means a light option and a heavy option. And 640 was the heavy weight for us 80 kilo guys. And Rich Molnar, who's got this world record, was actually able to do, 11 on that. But you had a whole crop in there that was doing 3 to 5, right? I hit 3. I was in 7th overall. So that can kind of give you an idea of what that looks like. Being able to do 4 reps would put you somewhere in the top 5. So that's what you need. Now, same with the 90 kilos. They also at official strongman games, they had an axle deadlift, which their heavy option was 700 and their light option was 640. So when we're thinking of scales and levels you need to be able to do, in the 675 to 700 range is what you're looking for here. Okay, John Hack ended up winning that one. Again, he had like 10 reps, absolute freakazoid, but there are other guys, handful that were getting 3 and 4 and 5. So to be at this pro world class level, that's the number you need to be chasing. With the 105s, 700. The winner at OSG, I believe, got 8 reps on, they actually had 750, 8 reps at 750 for the 105 kilo class on the axle deadlift. But if you can't even pick this up one time, you have no shot at being good at the pro level here. And then this is where it gets crazy, is actually for the opens, you need to be capable of 800 pounds, 4 reps. Ridiculous. OSG, they had 820 for their weight for axle deadlifts, since there were people hitting it for 5 and 6. Absolutely astonishing. So, when we're thinking about what is the gap now between pro and this world record, I would not personally get too caught up in trying to chase world records unless you have a really, really special talent. In the sport of strongman, you need to think about, all the different variables that go into the sport, where very rarely do we train for just a max deadlift, even though it is a little trendy right now, and we always want some baseline level of strength. I want you to think about how you can improve not just your 1 rep, but your ability to have that big engine where you can do big sets at these heavy weights, because that is what's going to get you more points overall in all deadlifts, and it's also going to give you the work capacity to do well in all the other events. It's just the best place. So let's still touch on the world record. So Rich Molnar has an 801 deadlift, 801 pounds. Absolutely crazy. He was the first 80 kilo guy to break 800 pounds. Absolutely nuts. And then we take it to the 90 kilo held by Dan Benson. 90 kilo, 400 kilo deadlift, that's 881 pounds. Now, one crazy thing that just happened a couple days ago is Ben Donnan did a beltless, raw, 390 kilo deadlift. So that's about 858, right? So pretty close, but those are 2 of the greatest deadlifters in all time. And these 2 numbers in particular are actually kind of miles above everybody else. There was Ben Donnan that did 790 here a while ago, but under that, after Donnan, in 3rd place, it's a maybe 40-pound gap. So again, don't think that you have to be near these world record levels or get caught up in chasing it, because you just got to be good enough to secure a bunch of points with these lower levels. Now, similar to the 105 class, the 930-pound deadlift, absolutely astonishing, absolutely crazy, okay? And then, of course, we have a 1,113-pound deadlift from Hafthor Bjornsson. Astonishing. 505 kilos, he just broke that world record by 4 kilos, about, 8.8 pounds. Just crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. So I hope this gives you an idea, if you're somebody who's trying to level up in the ranks of strongman, what should you be shooting for? Again, none of this is just picked out of a hat. These are based off real world competitions and kind of averaging on what you should expect from all of these different levels. So as always, thank you for watching the video. If you haven't done so already, hit the like button. Please click subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a championship day.